Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 33 of the Well Done Life podcast. Well, hello, and welcome back to episode 33 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis. If you are new here, I just want to say hello, hey, welcome. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for continuing to listen. Your support means the world to me as we continue on this journey. The Well Done Life podcast for everyone is about building community. This is an opportunity for us to empower each other as women to grow and live our best lives through experiences. No one is an expert at everything. We all have something valuable to share. So hopefully you will take something from this that will encourage you to pursue your wildest dreams, help somebody, or just live your best life, because that's really what it's all about. Before we get started, I didn't write an episode specifically about it, and I probably will talk about it when we get to episode 35. I want to just say rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. You may know him as the Black Panther. He was one of my favorite actors, not just for Black Panther, but for, his numerous roles as Jackie Robinson for 42 and for Thurgood Marshall. For James Brown. He was just such an amazing actor, and it is such a loss for everyone. And he is such a testament to strength. For him to be able to battle through and do the things that he did while dealing with cancer, I'm in awe of him. So I want to make sure that I recognize that, because it really affected me, and it really made me just, again, be very intentional, reminded me to be intentional, about the time that we are given, and to just make sure that I give it all, because I just never know what tomorrow may bring, and that health is truly wealth. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later, but I wanted to make sure that I address that first thing. And I also want to make sure that I continue, like I have been doing, to give prayers, reverence, good juju vibes to everyone on the front line dealing with COVID-19, especially now that we're back in school. We definitely need to make sure that we have kindness in our heart when we're dealing with each other, that we try to wear masks, that we social distance. I know we all want to get back out there and live our lives, but there are a lot of people who are vulnerable, and we really need to make sure that we are considerate of each other, because we want to try to stay as healthy as possible. So I just want to say thank you again to everyone out there. But this week, I am so very excited to share this young lady with you. I'm loving this, continuing to bring new voices to the Well Done Life podcast. She is an amazing woman. I'm going to let her tell you about herself, but my guest for this week is Maya Dunn. So I would like to take this moment to flip it a little bit. You guys will never even know I flipped it, to share our conversation that we had with this week. She is amazing. I hope she inspires you, because she has quite a background and she is doing a lot of big things, and she shows me that at all times purpose is possible even in the midst of chaos. So Maya, why don't you say hello to the Well Done Life audience and tell them a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you so much, Pam. I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of share my voice and to kind of share the journey that you and I have walked upon. As Pam said, I'm Maya. Maya D is what you will see me say on social media. What about me? So many things. I am a creative at heart. I go under the name of Style Delegate. So a big part of my life is fashion. I love a good fit. I love to look good. I love to slay in everything I do, whether it be in my 9-to-5, or whether it be my many side hustles that I'm going to go ahead out there and manifest. That will be my full-time hustle. Yes. I'm just a woman of many hats. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm all of that. But I'm overall a creative. So I'm just happy for the opportunity to share a bit of my story with you today, Pam, and with the Well Done Life team as well.
Well, thank you. We're really excited about having you here. And like Maya did say, she does slay honey. You have definitely got to check out her fashions. Her fashions will give you envy and all kinds of just glorious happiness. And she's being a little shy, but she's also an amazing, influential woman and just so inspiring. So I know you mentioned creative a lot. And yes, you're right. You are extremely creative. How did you get started on this creative journey? What led you into becoming the style delegate or even your podcast, Maya and Mattia?
Let's see. I first began because I had a love for writing. Okay. And I felt like I had a lot to share with the world. And I had been in a place where, I had explored some things, had some great experiences, and I felt like it was a great way to connect with my family because we were living apart, I'm in Florida. And then at the time when I originally had the idea, though, I was living in Japan. And so it's kind of a way to connect our worlds. But then it became much more than that because I realized that my voice had some power, and that I would be able to influence people as I was accomplishing, some of the things that I was accomplishing. And so it went beyond just wanting to write a little bit on, the funny thing is a lot of people don't even know this, but my first blog was actually Perfectly Imperfect Me. And it was all about embracing imperfection because I felt like in society, so often we're kind of groomed to aspire to be, this perfect package of a person. And I really wanted the message to be, it's okay to embrace imperfection, because those are the things that make you golden. That's kind of like each of our superpowers, right? Is to be imperfect, but also understand that it's that imperfection that really does make us whole. So yeah, it started with, that blog, but then I kind of shifted gears because I was like, but you know what? I love this message, but I was listening to all of the experts, right? We have so many of the greats in the blogging world, and they were like, hey, but you need a niche or a niche, right? You need to hone in on a specific topic. And so I chose fashion. But it's funny that we're having this conversation because now I'm in the middle of another pivot, right? Because I realized, I love fashion. As I grow as a woman, now I want to focus more on the motivational, speaker piece of the life story piece. And so you'll soon see Motivated by Maya roll out. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I had no idea. I'm very excited about Motivated by Maya. And I'm actually a little fascinated because you started with Perfectly Imperfect. Why did you shift away from that? I know you mentioned you pivoted, but was there like a reason that you shifted away? Or it just was the niche, finding your niche thing?
Yeah, it was. I wanted to zero in on, I'll be honest, it was, this is what I know I'm good at because this is what people are telling me. I'm good at, so maybe I need to capitalize on that because also there's money there, right? I'm like, fashion blogger. Oh, I can make some coins in this. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I understand.
There's some monies. So let me, get zeroed in on that. But what I learned over that journey is I still wasn't fulfilled with just that piece because I was missing, what I wanted to do at the core as I've evolved as a woman. What I now see as my purpose is to be able to give back to those who were or are where I once was. And so that's where the Motivated by Maya pivot comes in at.
Okay. And it's funny that you would make that pivot in our conversation because when I was doing my research for our interview, one of the things that I noticed on your Style Delegate website was, yes, there was obviously a lot of influence in regards to your fashion, but also about your poverty to podium mindset and how, you were looking at shifting. And it seems like creativity has always led to you wanting to still be able to inspire people. How did that poverty to podium mindset work now more go into your new site?
So that's exactly the focus. I'm so happy that you read that about me page. It's been a while since I checked back there, but that's basically the whole thing. The whole premise of the Motivated by Maya is to look at that piece of my life and then walk people through, how to get to where I am now. Because what I realize is it's not so much the accolades or the accomplishment. It's the wholeness that I feel, the confidence that I've been able to, build within myself to believe that more than what I had was possible, and so that's what I want to focus on. And that's what I'm going to be given to, those who choose to take part in this new journey with me.
And in this new journey, and not to kind of give it all away, I noticed that like I mentioned on Style Delegate, you talk about growing up in Norfolk, Virginia, and about being hungry and about going through homelessness and obviously poverty. How has that, how do you feel like that contributes to your hustle now?
Oh, it's everything. It's everything, because in order to appreciate where you are, right, you have to have some sort of appreciation for where you come from. Right. And the fact that I started in such a place of lack, was the very motivator that led to my place of abundance. Right. And so I would attribute my struggle, I would give that credit for my success.
Yeah, I can see that, because luckily I've had the pleasure of knowing you for quite some time, and I definitely understand the pivoting, because as an influencer, it is that, like you said, the experts, and there's nothing wrong with that. You do have to find your niche. You do have to find the area that you speak to, but being able to balance that with the desire to obviously generate revenue is hard. Especially for some people, because they pivot away from their true selves, and you wind up just trying to, fulfill a point. How do you make sure that you stay true to who you really are instead of just chasing the paper?
And that's exactly where I'm coming from, right? Because originally, like I was saying in the beginning, it was let me pivot, because for one, this is something that people are telling me I'm good at. You know how you have your one-on-one coaching meetings with the experts, and it's like, oh, well, I'm looking at you, and you're this total package, and, fashion blogging should definitely be something that you really, brand yourself as, and it's lucrative. So that was chasing the paper, because I don't know if you recall, I'm sure you do though, there's been so many times where I've spoken to you and I've said, man, Pam, like I do love fashion, but I just feel like something's missing. Yeah. I just feel like I'm supposed to be doing something else, and I don't know what that is. And so I think it was back in 2016, actually, we were at Blogalicious. Right. And when we were there, I had like this mini conversation with Kim Carter. And we were talking, and she was asking me like, so, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm a fashion blogger, influencer, and she was like, yeah. But like, what's your purpose? Like, you look cute and all, but like, what are you passionate about? Right. And so we're having this conversation, and I'm like, I'm passionate about, so many things. I'm passionate about people who are in impoverished communities. I'm passionate about teen girls who are, trying to find their way with a child and not knowing, how they're going to make it out of the environment that they may be in this, underserved community or what have you. And she's like, well, if you're passionate about that, can I ask you a question? And I'm like, sure. She was like, so why aren't you doing that? And that was 2016, Pam. Right. Ooh. And I was like, that's a good question. And I took that with me, and I said, I'm going to do that. Right. But no matter what, I kept on that path, even though I knew, right, that I wanted to do something else. It was easier to stay in that path of fashion blogger because that's what I was doing. Right. I do. So now I'm thankful to finally have found this place of purpose. Yes. And to really have a clear vision for what I'm here for. And it's truly to show people that because I am, you can be too. You know what I'm saying? Like proof. I remember growing up wanting to have, proof in the pudding.
Yeah.
And so to be able to have been blessed enough to become, the exception, I want to give that back to somebody else. I feel that I would be doing the world a disservice if I didn't.
Well, I was just going to say you would be, because it's always been on you. Even though, yes, you have the flyest fashion, girl. I would love 20 minutes in your closet. You are so welcome. But there's always been this beautifulness, this heart inside of you because of the things that you've gone through, that I felt like other young girls, other people need to hear. Because like you said, it's the proof in the pudding. I mean, there are so many different perceptions. I feel like, obviously the only way that you can get ahead is either playing basketball, rapping, whatever. Not everyone's going to get a chance to go to school. Not everyone's going to get a chance to do those things. And that's true. But I think the key is seeing that there are people who did it without having to do all these extraordinarily crazy things to do it. You can actually do it when you apply hard work, when you apply focus, when you apply faith, when you believe in yourself. So you've always had that. And that makes me ask then, with everything that you have been going through, obviously in your youth, and to where you are now, do you recall when the exact moment was that you shifted your mindset to, I'm going to have abundance and not be mired in lack?
I can't say a specific moment.
Okay.
Because it was all small steps.
I understand.
And little head nods from God along the way. Right?
Okay. Right.
And what I mean by that is it was always kind of like one thing led to another. It was always a connect the dots type of thing for me. And to your point, right, a lot of times we think it has to be even myself, because that is my story. Like I started out, creative journey in hip hop and poetry. Yeah. That was what I wanted to do. And then I was like, I also want to have a shop or a boutique. But this is when I'm like in the hood, what I'm saying, in the thick of it all. I could always see myself doing something beyond that. But so when the rapping thing didn't quite pan out, because it was kind of a choice to either go with my kids, and my husband and move to another country, or stay in, New York or whatever and live that life away from my family and try to build this brand. And I realized that's a deal breaker for me, because I don't trust anyone to do for my children ever what I'm gonna do as a parent for them. So that didn't work out. But even in that time frame, my lyrics were always beyond where I was. I always saw myself on a yacht. I always saw myself, with the house on a lake. I always saw myself with millions in the bank, because I knew it was possible. I just didn't know how. But every time one thing would change, another thing would show itself. Right. And so though I had visions or goals and aspirations to be a rapper, then I was like, oh, well, you know what? I know executives, they make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go on free typingtest.com and I'm going to self-educate myself on how to use, this computer to be able to type. Because I think back then it was like 60 words per minute or something, girl. But I was self-taught in that regard, right? But then while doing that, I was still rocking the Jeepers Creepers hat, working in the mall. But I was always looking at where I could go beyond where I was. And every time I would do something, God would bless me with something that was in alignment with what I was seeking.
I see. Oh,
and so it's always like these little steps that lead to bigger. And so that's why my mantra is always, little steps lead to big things. Yes. It's all about the small parts. So there wasn't a particular time, to go back to your question. It was just understanding, God showed me very early that whatever I do, he was going to match it.
Okay.
Or
Wow.
he was going to do bigger if I was willing to trust him blindly, to have faith in whatever it was that I wanted. And he's just shown himself time and time and time again.
And that's so beautiful, because it's hard. I mean, we've all had to make decisions where it's like you're stepping out without any kind of knowledge, like true knowledge, outside of the word of God. And yes, that's a powerful word. But sometimes, fear is also in that ear, like, girl, you sure he's right? But you trust it and you believe. Yes. You sure he's got it together, but you trusted and you believe. And it's inspiring to me to hear that you had a vision for yourself. Even again, when you couldn't see it, you still already knew you were going to have those things. And God was always in that picture kind of guiding you. So it sounds like that fed you through a lot of your journey.
It did. I tell you what, faith and growing up in a family that believes, like my mom, I would tell anybody, that lady is a praying warrior. You hear me? Mm-hmm. She is a praying warrior. I came home one day, and this is no cap, and I swear she was in my, like on the top floor at the time she was living with me. And as I pull up to get out the car, I could hear her praying from the driveway. Okay. And it felt like the house was shaking because she was praying and interceding that hard. And so I feel that, and I truly believe that those prayers also carried me. But she always knew of God's plan for me before I knew my name.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
So I think at the core of everything is faith and vision, because I have vision and I didn't trust it, in my earlier years as much as I trust it now.
Right.
But I think vision is also a gift.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you have to have a vision for where you see yourself, because if not, I mean, you're just going to keep kind of going along. I tend to be one of those people who believe that I think God gives all of us a gift, and it's up to us. We each are born with some special, unique gift that can heal one of the issues of the world. And either you tap into it or you don't. And there's no right or wrong, because some people, maybe that's not where you feel you're at, but just know that God gave you something special. And if you decided to use it, you would really benefit the world. And for you to have that vision, like you said, I think that's amazing. You have to know who you are, especially with a world that will tell you and make you feel like you can't make it. You have to know that. And for you to know that in the midst of that is very powerful. How do you translate that vision into your children now? Because it is easy. I mean, we've all, like you said, you got praying mamas and praying grandmothers. You are the manifestation of their dreams. And I know you are very covering over your children, but how do you instill that vision in them so that they can continue to grow?
It's the day by day work, girl. And the older they get, the more challenging it becomes. Yes. We were just having a conversation last night, and we were talking about like different parenting skills and what works for them and what doesn't. Oh, cool. And they were saying one of the things that they've grown to appreciate about me in having now the ability to compare my parenting style to, some of the things that they've seen, with other friends and whatnot, is that I don't make a decision for them. I refuse to. I want to teach you how to assess your own life. I'm going to help you lay out what it is, but I want you to have critical thinking to be able to solve these problems or to be able to determine, what the best solution may be, because I know that I only have so long here. And none of us know what so long looks like. And so for me, my main objective with my children is to ensure that they're capable to make decisions that they can be proud of when I'm unable to. And that starts with at a very young age, like our kids, they're a part of our budget. Like they know what the budget is. They know what the dollars look like. Now, of course, not every single detail, but they know enough to where now they can go off and run their own household, because they've had that experience. We've allowed them to operate a grocery budget. We've told them, hey, you have to have credit because I'm not going to co-sign for you. So as soon as you're eligible, we're going to get you your own, because I know what it looks like to have my name on somebody else's stuff. And I'm not for that. Right. Because I had that done to me. And so now I'm not comfortable with signing anything for anybody, and love them to life. I love my babies to life, but you're only getting what you get in this life. That doesn't mean that we won't support them and help them with things like they're about to venture off and get my boys are about to be roommates. Okay. And so they're getting their first apartment. But my thing is, you got to have the first month, last month. You got to have your own means to pay for whatever it is you want, right? But I'll do the things that I enjoy doing. Like, I love to decorate anyway, so I'll, get you some furniture. Nice, cast iron, pan set and all that good stuff. But the thing is, I don't want them to need me. And so for me, what that looks like is ensuring that my babies are capable of being self-sufficient. And showing them that you have options in life. Yes. You have options. You don't have to settle into working a job. You don't have to settle into this or that, but you do have to invest. That's the only thing I require of them. You have to invest. You have to learn the stock market, because trading time for money, we all know what that gets you.
Right. You're right. And I like that you're starting them young doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had known more back then, but hey, I'm going to share what I know now, because if I had been one of them parents, like a lot of these folks, with a 5-year-old that's trading, I would have done that back then. Girl, but I'm learning today. And a lot of times I make them learn and teach me.
But that's what it's all about. It's about having that generational mindset. Because obviously, like you said, you weren't raised that way. But you at least gleaned enough to know that when I want to make sure my kids are able to adapt, to be able to make strong decisions, to be able to make it out here, because you're right. Tomorrow's not promised to anyone. And that is so important that you're giving that kind of impartation into your kids. You're very vision minded, but I've always known that about you. And you've always had, to me, a way of looking at how you wanted your life to be, and whether you might be pivoting on a certain thing or not, you still ultimately know specifically how you want it to go. Mm-hmm. How do you keep yourself inspired?
Reading, girl. Reading and watching the greats. Because what I have appreciated in life is that I don't have to have that experience to learn from it. I can learn from your experience. I can be a good student. And I think that's the recipe for success in life. And so I look outward to where I want to be, and then I start really small in where I am. Right. Because when you do that, it's now manageable, right? You realize that you don't have to know it all to be able to do it all. You just have to start somewhere. Yes. And so for me, what keeps me motivated is reading and watching documentaries. Like, I love Super Soul Sunday. I love the Toni Morrison piece that Netflix did. That's been giving me life. I right now have on my watch list, but I don't allow myself very much TV time. I'm not a TV watcher. I was just having this conversation with my son the other day. He's like, I don't know what brought it up, but we were both talking about the fact that, Mom, you're never really just sitting down doing nothing. You always thinking of something. I said, and if I were to ever leave here, that's what I want you to take with you, right? Don't spend your time recklessly. If you're investing in something, let there be a return. And so now I have a good trouble. I want to watch that piece on
Netflix.
Congressman. John Lewis. I have that, and I've been wanting to watch it since it came out, but you only have so many hours in the day. So that's a treat for me to be able to watch TV, because there's so much that I'm trying to build while I have the strength to build it, you know?
Yes, I understand. So obviously you are internally motivated because you, like you said, you have goals and aspirations that keep feeding you. And yes, I want to see Good Trouble as well. And I love Toni Morrison. She's one of my favorite authors. What is one thing that you do consistently every day to keep yourself focused?
Oh, I feel like I'm never focused. That's the funny piece about it. But I don't know how to answer that question, because I always feel like I'm all over the place, to be honest. But to my credit, I think that's a part of my brilliance, that I can do many things and I can do them well. But at the same time, I think focus is something that I need to improve upon. I even purchased the book called Deep Work, because that's something that I'm really focusing on doing better, is focusing, if that makes sense.
And see, that to me is funny, because I'm like, you have so many things going on that you're accomplishing right now. I do find it funny, but I understand, because you're in the process of your brands and all of those things. Focus is not there, but you must be focused in all this organized chaos.
I'm focused on getting things done. It's typically my focus. I had to have a confession the other day, because I'm like, I looked up and we're like already in September, and I could not recall an adventure that I had taken with my family other than, and I know it's COVID time or whatever, but usually I'm really creative with stuff like that. But girl, between selling a house, buying a house, homeschooling, being a wife, being a mom, getting a new promotion, building Cultured Collection, helping manage the Maya and Matia brand, it is a lot. So focusing on one particular thing has been a challenge. I have not mastered that. And so I want to learn more on the topic. If anybody out there has tips and tidbits, your girl, I'm willing to accept them.
Well, obviously, though, with everything that you laid down, focus, okay, you might want to sharpen it, but you've got some of it going, because you obviously, for you to be selling a house, building a house, homeschooling, and building Cultured Collection, which we'll talk about, as well as Maya and Matia, that brand, that's a lot, Mama. It's only 24 hours in a day, so obviously something, and the balls aren't dropping. You might have some focus.
Here's the thing, and I got this from the Year of Yes book. We were reading this one together, I believe, years ago. And it's still a favorite. And one of the things Shonda said in that book that really, really deeply resonates with me is that if you see me doing one thing well, know that something else is suffering. Right? Mm-hmm. And so that's truly what it is. A lot of times people look at anyone who seems to be successful in any way, and they kind of put them on a pedestal. Like, I never want to be on a pedestal, because I'm imperfect, and I own every bit of that. And so if I'm winning in one area, just know that something probably isn't the best. Like, my house has been in shambles. You know what I'm saying? Because I haven't been able to tend to the laundry baskets. I've been washing the clothes, putting them in the basket, and they've been watching themselves. And they've been in there conversing like, when is she going to come back for us? So that's what I mean by, but I embrace that, though. I love that, because that's my truth.
But that's what makes you so awesome. That's what makes you so inspiring, because again, you're doing all of these things and you're doing them well, even though you might not think you're doing them well. And like you said, something is possibly going down the seam, because it's not about perfection. Nobody's perfect. Like you said, nobody's perfect. Having an unclean house, child. There's a lot of houses right now. Look at a little sketch. And my room looks like a disaster zone on a daily basis. So I understand.
I was like, man, I'm home all the time. I thought that I would just have everything together, right? Because I'm home, but girl, it's been a struggle. it has been a struggle. But now, of course, it looks like it's like magazine ready because we're having, open house tomorrow. So it's itchy right now. It looks amazing. I kind of want to stay a little bit. Just a little.
Well, it can. Just tell everybody, hey, watch your back. Don't touch nothing. We're going to keep it together and make it through. But then, and just try to let everybody live within a bubble. And do that for at least a little while so you can get that through. Because yes, you do have a lot going on. Just kind of shifting gears a little bit. Tell us about Maya and Mattia. How did you guys get started and what's going on with the podcast?
Oh, so many things. So we got started back in 2018. Okay. Myself and my co-host, Mattia, we actually worked together in our 9-to-5s. And so through going through that piece of it, we kind of, you know how you have like the lunch break talk and then the water cooler talk and all that. I was kind of sharing with her much of, what I wanted to do outside of work, and we found that we had a lot in common. And so I'm like, you know what? We should actually do a podcast together because remember, you, myself, and another individual, we had some things planned, but that partnership just never really solidified. Right. And so I'm like, but I still want to do this. So, hey, why don't you and I, come together and come up with the show? And she was like, I think that'd be dope. So we came up with one name, which was actually supposed to be like Caps Off. And then I was like, maybe we want to go away from that because that's going to kind of be hard to brand, But the premise was like limitless living, right? Yes. And so then I was like, you know what about the Maya and Mattia show? Because I see myself as an Oprah Winfrey, Oh, yes, honey. Status, And I feel like she's a household name. Yes. And that's never going to fade. And so let's brand the show as such. And so from there, it was just, it's just taken off. And so the premise of the show, though, is purposeful living, living out loud, standing in your truth and embracing yourself, as you are. And then also finding the courage to go beyond, where you are. Yeah. So that's kind of the show.
I love it. I've listened to quite a few of episodes. I love how now you're spotlighting more female entrepreneurs, business owners. I think that is just such a great platform. And you guys have also kind of leaned more into video. I'm not at that point because I don't wear makeup anymore. I can't do it.
You don't need it, though. I'm looking at you right now, and darling, you're gorgeous.
Oh, thank you so much, hon. Thank you. Trying to stay hydrated.
Skin looking like, butter,
Thank you. Thank you. It's all about... I appreciate all about hydration. And so, yes, I love the show and I love how you guys, like I said, support women. And then also you have Culture Collection coming out. So want to tell us about Culture Collection.
So on the heels of going through a rebranding with the Maya Mattia show, I'm also in the process of launching a lifestyle brand called Culture Collection. As we were talking earlier, I was telling you I just got the logos in today, and they are they're just so dope. I'm so excited. And shout out to my daughter because she actually sketched the logo. And then I sent it over to the graphic designer, and she really did her thing. Like, I'm gonna send them to you, girl. I'm gonna send it to you.
I can't wait to see it, and I love that. Keep it in the family. Keep it in the family.
Keep it in the family. But baby girl also has her own stuff going on too, so you'll have to have her back on the show so she can tell her story as well. I know it's crazy over here. It's crazy. It's crazy. I tell you what, I've got my money invested in everything except my pockets. Everything except my own pockets. You hear me? But yeah, so Culture Collection is a lifestyle brand. I'll actually be shooting the commercial when the videography team gets back from New York on the 27th, I believe, of this month. And it's going to be a whole rollout. It's just about being cultured and proud. It's about changing the narrative of what it means to be Black because a lot of times people see us one way, but really those are just projections. Right. It's not really how they feel. And so I chose to use the watermelon as a part of the logo because I'm just fascinated by the history of the watermelon and the Black community in, the U.S. And they tried to make they being the others, those who wanted to hold us down, hold us back, keep us from progressing. They tried to make it negative, right? They tried to make it represent, laziness and childishness and, uncleanliness, right? Is how they have, branded the watermelon and given it this whole stereotypical thing. But when you look into what the watermelon represented for Black people, it represented freedom. It represented independence, because that's what watermelon farmers did to make money when they got their freedom. Back during the Jim Crow era, what happened was they were getting their freedom and they were earning, money, and they were able to live different and better. And so they were like, no, these niggas not. Don't be going buying that watermelon. You know what I'm saying? So then they started doing all these caricatures and Sambo-like images to discourage people who supported those watermelon farmers from purchasing from them. And so I just figured, like, what better time than now to change that narrative? Right?
No, I agree. I mean, the timing is perfect. And it's funny that you say that, because my grandfather was a farmer, and he had watermelons too. And I think now probably that was a large part of their history. It was. I mean, he made money, he sold his crops. That was what they did. So I'm very excited to see your logo and about turning some of the stereotypes against Black people, African Americans, however everybody wants to classify it, on their head. Because that's the only way that we're going to move past it. We have to turn some of these stereotypes around.
Away from the things that we like, because we don't like the negative connotation that comes with it. And so, though, on the surface, this is a lifestyle brand, right? That's what that's ultimately what it is. But the bigger thing is the message is ownership. It's owning something. It's having total control of what my feeling is. And it's creating a path for me to give back to the communities that fed me, the communities that inspired me, the communities that enriched my life so that I can enrich other people. And so I've set up with one of the local youth centers, and I'm also establishing a partnership with my hometown folks back in Norfolk that, the portion of the proceeds will go to them, because there are children who need, certain things. Like, I remember growing up and not having water, to wash out with. So we used to have to walk over to, some of my mom's friends' houses, which was like 4 blocks from our house, right? Wow. And we would fill out these water jugs and take them back home so that we can cook and have a bath and clean the house and flush the toilet. And people are still going through that. Yes. And so now that I have a means, to use my creativity to help benefit someone else, I'm 100% committed to that.
I think that's awesome. To that. I love it. I can't wait for Culture Collection to come out, because I love the fact that you have that direct tie back to your community. And not to put any pressure, do you have like a launch date, or is that still something you guys are fleshing out?
No, we're still fleshing it out, but once we get the commercial up and all of that, then all of that promotional content will be there, and the dates to, be publicized. But
no worries.
The goal, though, is before Black Friday. That's the goal.
Okay, I think that would be awesome. And the only reason I was asking is because I was going to say I want to make sure that I know so that I can support you in your endeavors. Because that's really what about Well Done Life is about. Like we kind of touched on earlier, there's lots of experts out there, and there's nothing wrong with being an expert, air quotes per se, in certain things. There are lots of people with lots of knowledge and experiences. This is a community about building on those knowledges and experiences so that we can help each other, so that we can learn that everybody is an expert. You're an expert based upon the situations that you have encountered and the things that you're accomplishing. So I am in awe of everything that you have going on, because it's so inspiring. I have one question that I always ask everyone when they come to my show. What is one thing that you want to make sure that my audience knows about you? What would that one thing be?
One thing.
Just one thing. Just one thing that just sums you up. Yes, what would that be?
Of service.
Oh.
I am a woman of service. You know, if there is anything I can do to help you through your journey, if there is a piece of the puzzle that maybe you're missing, that you need someone to help you find, you know, I will do my best to do that. I'm truly a woman of service, because I believe we gain the most through helping someone else. You know, I said in a quote, a caption, I think it was last week, that being the blessing is the gift. You know, having the ability to bless somebody else, that is a gift.
Yes.
And so if there's anything or any way that I can help bless your life, you know, I believe in teaching people to fish, you know, so they can eat for a lifetime. So
I can tell. That's awesome. I can tell, and it's so funny because on your style page, your About Me page, I've noticed this quote. And it says, if I don't encourage and inspire, I'm not living in my purpose. And that in itself is disappointing. And it's, I believe it's Trika House, right?
Yes, my best boo. Yes.
Your best boo. Yes. And I was like, that sums you up to me, Maya, because you are such an encouraging and inspiring person. You are one of the people who I would say is like a huge cheerleader. And I remember you and I sitting back and having many conversations about these platforms before they were even birthed, trying to figure out how we were going to do it, overcoming our fears, trying to walk in our purpose.
Oh my God, yes, Pam.
Yes, it's crazy. You remember those?
I do. I was walking through Target one day when we were planning the Sister Circle. Yes. And it was all about that, right? It was all about, you know what, I just want to live in my truth. Like, I just want to, you know, embrace my whole self. I want to be able to show up authentically as me in everything I do. Yeah. And I don't want to have to code switch, and I don't want to have to be a pretender. I just want to be authentically me. And here we are, you know, both being podcasters, both being each other's biggest support system.
Absolutely.
And just having this authentic relationship. I couldn't be more thankful for having the opportunity to have met you. And now to call you friend, you know, my forever friend, girl.
Absolutely. We are tight. We're going to be stuck with each other for a long time.
Yeah.
Because I'm just, like I said, I'm just so amazed by you. And I'm just so glad that we have been able to come full circle with these visions. And to see Culture Collection too, I'm so excited about supporting that and encouraging you. So I really, you know, just thank you for coming to the Well Done Life today, talking to my audience, showing them, again, anything is possible. And at any time, if it's in your heart, you need to just go do it.
You don't do it. I think the biggest thing that stops us from doing things is the fact that we don't have the answer. Because I know that's what crippled me for years. Analysis paralysis is real. And so for so long, I was like, oh, I don't know how to start. Oh, I don't know, you know, what to do with this. So I don't know what to do with that. And then I realized, oh, I'm looking too far ahead.
Right.
I'm trying to do it all, when all I really need to do is start where I know to start.
Yep.
And then, just like every other thing in my life, how things just align, right? As you go down your path, things find you, right?
Yeah.
And in this journey of Culture Collection, I'm most proud of this because this is all me. Yes. You know, this isn't a partnership. This isn't somebody else's ideas that, you know, I'm bringing to life like on my 9 to 5. This is all me, you know, from beginning to end. I'm self-funded, so I sacrifice a lot and I pour a lot of my own money into this brand. And I just can't wait to share it. I wish I was ready with the launch date, right? Because that would have been perfect. But I realized that when it's time, it will come. And right now I'm just knee deep in the details, because this is not a brand that's going to be a, one and done type situation. We're in it for the long haul. So some of the products you can expect to see, we're doing athleisure wear, we're doing coloring books, we're doing We As in Me, we're doing t-shirts and, sports bras and just all kinds of stuff. And it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be for the culture.
Well, I am excited, Mama. I'm very happy about that. And I'm glad you're standing in your purpose. And I thank you for coming on. So how can my audience find you? Oh, my pleasure. Please, so run down all your socials. I'm going to put them in the notes, but let everybody know, let the people know where they can find you.
So you can find me on Style Delegate on IG as well as Facebook. And then you can find me also on my website at styledelegate.com. And then for the podcasting piece, you can find me on mayaandmattia.com or also at Maya and Mattia on Instagram or Facebook.
Awesome. So I will have everything in the show notes for you, for the audience, so that they can connect with you. And again, I thank you for sharing your journey with me.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here. I cannot thank you enough. And of course, I look forward to chatting with you again.
Of course. Absolutely, darling. I will have you on anytime. I'll talk to you soon.
Indeed.
Okay, love. Mwah. Bye.
Wasn't that a great conversation? I love talking to Maya. She is amazing, and that we really didn't even get into all of the details of her story because that's just something that she has to tell. But just from the things that you've learned about her today, I hope you leave with what we were saying, that if there is something in your heart, you got to go do it. There's never going to be a perfect time. There's never going to be enough money. There's never going to be an easy way. But if it's for you, the universe, God will line up all the things that you need to make it come true. And like I said, Maya is a living testament of that, because the amount of things that she's got going on, selling her house, building a new house, working a full-time job, which we really didn't talk about, but yes, she works a full-time job while also managing her new brand as well as her podcast. So it's possible. It's just a matter of how you devote your time and energy. And as you can see, maybe focus is relative. I don't know. But I definitely want you to be encouraged today. So I hope you enjoyed our conversation. I want to thank you all for listening. I will be back next week with another new voice and another podcast episode. Please join us. Please like, share, subscribe, and support The Well Done Life. I'll make sure Maya's information as well as my own is in the show notes. And take care of you guys. Take care of yourself and each other. And I look forward to talking to you next week. Bye. Mwah.